Imagine you're running a massive e-commerce platform. Every day, your system drops gigabytes of raw sales data into an S3 bucket as CSV files, and your team needs to analyze it. If you try to load all that historical data into your live operational database, like Amazon RDS, and run heavy analytical queries, you consume the compute resources needed to process live customer orders. Your website slows down, and you lose sales. This diagram shows why that happens and how Amazon Redshift solves it. On the left, traditional databases store data in rows, like reading a whole book cover to cover just to find a few specific keywords. On the right, Redshift uses columnar storage, organizing data vertically, which is more like jumping straight to the index. When you want to find total sales, the database engine only needs to scan that specific vertical slice. It skips all the irrelevant data, drastically reducing the disk I/O. By offloading your analytics to Redshift, you get petabyte-scale data crunching for your business intelligence, while your live operational database stays focused purely on web traffic. Today, we are going to build an automated, secure pipeline to move that raw storage directly into a working data warehouse. Looking at our architecture blueprint, the data flows left to right. We start with our CSV files in S3, authenticate securely using AWS IAM, process the data in Redshift Serverless, and finally run our reports using Query Editor v2. We are using the serverless version of Redshift because it automatically scales compute resources up or down to handle the exact data load, meaning we do not have to manually manage any underlying infrastructure. Step by step, this blueprint takes static, unmanageable CSV files and turns them into dynamic, query-ready insights. First, navigate to the Amazon Redshift Console and create a new serverless workgroup. During setup, you reach a critical step, attaching an IAM role. AWS manages resource permissions using a specific JSON syntax. In this structure, you'll see blocks for actions you allow, resources, and conditions. Notice the red placeholders. You always customize these with your specific bucket names and IDs. For our tutorial, we need a policy that explicitly grants Redshift the S3 getObject permission. This updated policy shows the Redshift service as the principal and points directly to the exact Amazon resource name, or ARN, of our S3 bucket. Think of this IAM role as a secure ID badge. Redshift presents it to S3, proving it has authorization to access and pull those CSV files. Without this specific identity bridge in place, your data warehouse remains isolated from your storage, even if every other configuration is set correctly. With the infrastructure running, open Query Editor v2. Before we can ingest data, we need to create our database schema by defining our tables. When writing your create table statement, assign strict data types, like specifying decimal for currency instead of a generic text string. This maximizes Redshift's columnar compression, saving you massive amounts of storage space. To load the data, we will use the copy command. This is the optimized method for high-speed, parallel ingestion straight from S3. This block of code shows the 3 mandatory parameters for the copy command: the target table name where data will go, the exact S3 file path pulling the data, and the IAM role ARN we created earlier to authorize the transfer. To avoid common formatting failures, you must add the ignore header 1 parameter at the end. This tells Redshift to skip the column titles in your CSV, preventing type mismatch errors. The copy command leverages this parallel ingest method to process millions of records in bulk, completing in seconds what would take minutes or hours using traditional sequential insert statements. Now the data is in our warehouse, we can run business intelligence queries, like aggregating sales by region or identifying top-selling products. To speed these queries up, we use a performance tuning mechanism called sort keys, which physically arranges the data on the disk for faster retrieval. When data is strictly ordered by a sort key, the database engine can jump straight to the specific date range it needs, rather than scanning the entire length of the column. Because Redshift is a columnar database, using select asterisk forces it to read every column, carrying a massive computational penalty. Always specify exactly which columns you need. For enterprise architecture, you would add AWS Glue to perform complex ETL transformations before the data hits Redshift, and use Amazon CloudWatch to monitor query duration. These specific query optimization techniques directly lower the variable compute costs of your serverless architecture, which bills you based on the Redshift processing units, or RPUs, consumed. Understanding how to use Redshift is great, but in a technical interview, you need to explain when to use it compared to other AWS databases. If your workload involves structured, relational data that requires complex transactions and immediate consistency, you should choose Amazon RDS or Amazon Aurora. However, if your priority is large-scale data warehousing and complex analytical throughput over individual row updates, Redshift is the right tool for the job. You also need to choose your cluster type. Use Redshift Serverless for variable or intermittent workloads, and provisioned clusters if you have steady-state, predictable compute needs. Ultimately, choosing the right database service requires balancing your data type, query complexity, and budget constraints. Redshift Serverless uses a per-second billing structure, so resource cleanup is crucial to ensure you don't get charged for an idle database. To stop all charges, navigate back to the Redshift console, delete the workgroup we created, and then delete the associated namespace. In just a few steps, we moved from raw CSV storage to high-speed analytics, secured the transfer with IAM, and ingested the data using the copy command. Mastering this pipeline gives you the foundational tools you need to build efficient data warehouses and start working as a professional AWS data engineer.